There are extended lines of supply between manufacturers and retailers, during which unprofitable activities such as palleting, packing and unpacking, interim storage and stapling soak up valuable time and money. Time that could be spent earning profits. Time consuming expensive manpower. So the goal has to be to get to the consumer faster and start earning better profits. This is where the CC Dolly triumphs. A quarter pallet-sized trolley on casters that can be moved about without additional transport. The Dolly minimizes out-of-stock situations and will add considerable support to your cross-docking operations. The CC Dolly consists of a reinforced frame. It is easily stackable, carries loads up to 250 kilograms, and is ideal for promotions, fast-moving consumer goods, and bulky items. What's the alternative been up to now? Let's have a look at the journey from conveyor belt to retailer in detail. In production at bottler Rauch, for example, the entire working process has been rationalized from a time and cost standpoint. Each of the 5 layers of the non-returnable tray are placed on a quarter pallet that is then transported by electric pallet truck to a turntable. Here, the display is cling film wrapped for transport. It then goes by electric pallet truck to the stacking area. There, each of the 4 quarter pallets are stacked onto a Euro pallet with a forklift. The Euro pallet is transported again by electric pallet truck onto a turntable and completely wrapped about 10 times with a cling film. A process that costs time and money and where considerable cost savings can be made. In the end, the fully wrapped Euro pallet is loaded by the electric pallet truck and now continues its journey by lorry or by rail to the central warehouse. Even during this stage, there are cost savings to be made, which is where the CC Dolly comes into its own. Let's start from the beginning again. Production and display assembly remain unchanged, but instead of the quarter pallet, the CC Dolly is now employed. The display, now positioned on the dolly, can be easily and effortlessly rolled onto the turntable. The electric pallet truck is no longer needed. As before, the display is wrapped with a cling film and is then conveniently rolled to the waiting area. 4 combined displays on dollies are the equivalent of 1 Euro pallet. Our foursome, now in Euro pallet format, is then wrapped once or twice without the Euro pallet and is ready for transport to the point of sale without the need for an electric pallet truck, pallet stackers, or turntable. A lorry or train takes the displays to the central warehouse. A clear simplification of the production process. With me is Thomas Gächter, Logistics Director at Rauch. What experiences have you made with the Dolly? We have experienced time-saving advantages by mounting drinks displays on the dollies. You can move the dollies throughout production without any external help. In itself, this advantage would not have convinced us to switch over to the dollies. However, the dollies offer us additional sales opportunities. For example, we can now establish our presence in very small outlets, which, thanks to the dolly, will generate additional revenue. Many thanks, Herr Gächter. Let's move one stage further in the supply chain. Back to the central warehouse and the Euro pallet, loaded with 4 displays on quarter pallets. After the cling film has been removed, the quarter pallets are individually positioned by forklifts onto roll containers for dispatch to the retail outlets. And then loaded for dispatch onto lorries. With the dolly, everything is considerably easier and quicker because reloading the displays onto roll containers is eliminated. Now onto the transport to the outlets, where the dolly can be easily rolled everywhere. And naturally, that means enormous time savings. Let's ask the logistics director here at Spar's warehousing center in Dornbirn. Mr. Peter, how accurately can you estimate the time savings incurred? I would estimate time savings of 55% using dollies compared to using conventional quarter pallets. Instead of first storing the product in the multi-level warehouse, it is immediately transported and cross-docked. In addition, we cannot deliver pallets to a lot of clients because these clients cannot physically accept them. We also save having to dispose of displays made from carton and wooden pallets. These are all problems not encountered with the dolly. Many thanks, Mr. Peter. Now let's move on to a retail outlet. This is the last link in the supply chain. Let's have a look at the quarter pallet again. This is what normally happens. Once it has arrived, the roll container is unloaded from the lorry and is handed over to the employees at the outlet. And this is where the problems start. Using the standard workhorse, a hand or an electric pallet truck, the quarter pallet won't budge off the roll container. The scissors prevent the forks from lifting the quarter pallet properly. That means the quarter pallet has to be stripped down at point of sale by hand, a tedious task. Having to do that every time a quarter pallet arrives looks very tedious. Yes, it's extremely tedious, having to strip everything down by hand. Sometimes something falls over, and then everything gets very stressful. Or do you need strong men to help you unload everything in one go? That would be very convenient. They could unload it in one go, and then it would also be level. Is there any alternative? Every now and then a drink supplier comes by with a forklift. Then he can get underneath and pick the whole thing up, which makes life a lot easier, if he happens to come. Luckily, there is a real alternative. Anyone who receives a delivery with a dolly needs neither a hand pallet truck nor an electric pallet truck, nor do they have to strip their display down. The displays are simply pulled through the storage area of the outlet to the point of sale. The result, a 65% saving in time, permanently available goods, more time for customers, and that creates motivated and satisfied employees. This is the store director of Interspar, René Remte. What's your opinion about the introduction of CC dollies? The dolly offers considerable advantages. For one, the dolly can be easily moved from the warehouse to the shop floor. We don't need any additional transport, and the employee doesn't need to strain his back, which means his ergonomic work environment is positively influenced. Is it an advantage that the display is always ready in position? Naturally, the display looks most appealing. You can see that this display induces the customer to buy and pushes up sales. Many thanks, Herr Remte. And for you, I will just sum up the advantages of the CC dolly. The CC dolly brings considerable working advantages over the quarter pallet. In the aforementioned cases, that means about 6% in production, about 55% in central warehousing, and about 65% at the retailer. Thanks to the dolly, goods arrive quicker at the point of sale. Out-of-stock situations are reduced and empty displays can be exchanged without external help. In this way, the dolly is the ideal carrier facility for the entire supply chain. You will generate more turnover at lower costs and can integrate the dolly Europe-wide on an ISO standard basis.